Okay, I see how it is. So, since I don't sit around discussing my dealings with the opposite sex, that makes me the bad guy?
Who was the last man, Shonda?
Really? That is none of your business.
They said they can't do anything. There's nothing they can do. They said we have to come up with at least 30% to even get him on the transplant list. How are we gonna do that?
She could get fired for that. That goes against every rule of the HIPAA policy.
Wait a minute, now ain't nobody said nothing about no damn hippo. Now, you okay?
Not HIPAA. It's the doctor-patient confidentiality form that you
Girl,
saw.
who the hell said something about some damn doctor? I ain't never say she was no doctor. Who said she was a doctor?
You said ER.
Why did you have to make me like this? Oh, this is all your fault! This is all your fault! Why did you have to let that woman touch me? Y'all love me, even when I didn't even love myself. I was laying there and I kept praying for God to just take me out of here, you know? And it was right then when I heard y'all's voices and I heard y'all crying over me and...
Yeah, we see how you and Trey been acting lately.
Did y'all have sex in the car? Just need a little drinks in your system. You'll be straight.
We can't all be like you, shawty.
Soon, we're gonna have our own big giant bathroom. Big bathtub with lots and lots of bubbles and toys.
I like bubbles. Me too.
Hey, come on, what y'all doing now?
Hi there. Thank you for coming to StarNet Studios. I am Andre Tucker. Today I am talking to an author, a model, an actress, very busy young lady, wonderful person I look forward to talking to here. Her name is Vitelle. Hi, Vitelle. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So one thing that I noticed, you are based in Atlanta currently, but if I'm not mistaken, you are originally from Ohio, and I if I'm not mistaken, and I'm from Ohio as well. I'm talking to you from Texas, but I'm from Ohio. So that right? You grew up in Ohio?
Well, I was born in Ohio. I grew
Uh-huh.
up everywhere. And actually, currently, I'm in Kentucky on book tour, wrapping up a book tour here. So, yeah, but I mostly consider myself based out of Atlanta because that's where I've spent the most time, and that's the place I consider home. So, yeah.
Okay, so more time, because I was gonna bring up Kentucky too, because yeah, I did see that you spent some time in Kentucky. So more time in Kentucky, more time in Atlanta than Kentucky is what you just said, right?
Yeah, Atlanta's where I consider home. Kentucky is where I have some family. So I end up coming back here quite a few times. But yeah, this is my first time doing the book tour here, though. So I'm going to be wrapping up this coming Friday with the book signing, final book signing before I head out of Kentucky. And I don't know if I'll be back. Who knows?
Okay, and we'll certainly circle back around to your book tour because I'm excited to talk to you about that as well. Now, in Atlanta, I've seen some of your work that you've done, and one thing that I noticed is you can definitely dig deep when it comes to the emotion. There are a lot of things that your characters that you play have gone through. So let me ask you, where does that come from? Is that just something that you felt you were taught or practiced, or do you just spend a lot of time just reading the script and just kind of deciding how you're going to do it when you're working with your characters?
I guess it's a little bit of all those things. I do, in a lot of ways, feel like it's a natural born talent, but I definitely feel like it can be added onto it with years of practice. And as the years go by, I feel like I get better. I definitely compartmentalize a lot of real life and tunnel that through my characters when it comes to sharing emotion and stuff so that it's real because I'm tapping into a real place. Usually when I'm studying a character, I'll try to find the similarities between that character's life and my own so that I can really live it out. And I'm very empathetic in general. So even if it's something that I've personally never experienced before, I can kind of imagine what someone in that position, somebody's experienced it, so I can definitely put myself in their shoes. So that's a gift.
All right. And some of those characters, the one that I want to touch upon is when you were on Flags on the Field. There's a lot, you spent some time with that production. Tell us a little bit about what that was like, and if you can tell us where someone may find that if they wanted to view it. But tell us about that story and your character a little bit.
Yes, Flags on the Field was amazing. Shout out to the People's Network. Bobby and Renee Peoples are the directors and writers of that. I was on 2 seasons of that, and hopefully there's a season 3 coming soon. Fingers crossed. But I played a character named Shonda. I have a lot of things going on with me in that show. I don't want to give too much away, but I will say my character did experience something that I personally have experienced, which is being suicidal and attempt suicide. So that was a tough one for me, because actually at the time that I was filming it, and I talk about it in my book too, at the time that I was filming that show, I was suicidal and nobody knew. And here I am having to play a character that feels that way. And I'm tapping into that, whoa, I'm the only one that realizes how real this is, and even the scene, that one particular scene alone, it was like, I did it one time and here I am trying to, stay focused and go back to one so I can do it over again. Cause that's what I'm used to doing, several takes. And after the first take, it was like, that's it. That's perfect. That's done. And I'm like, what? No, it's got to be perfect, so, but apparently it was perfect the first time. And we went with the one take and was done with it, but it was very real for me.
Yeah. And also, speaking of real, because I know one of the things that with a role like that, I know you, once again, I say you dig deep, and I know one thing you care about is helping others. And one of your projects tackled homelessness. And tell us a little bit about that project and that character and that experience.
So The Face of Homeless is a stage production that I actually wrote and directed while I was homeless, believe it or not. It was another one of those things. Again, nobody knew that I was homeless. Nobody knew what I was dealing with. I wrote, casted, directed everything with this play. The very first time I did it, I did not play myself in it, because part of the story was depicting my own story, as well as adding other different various forms of homelessness and other people's stories to the mix. So it's kind of like a soap opera kind of thing. But I didn't play myself the first time. I had someone else play me. Shout out to Dimples Potter, because I felt like, it's too fresh. It's happening right now. So I just couldn't do it. And so during the process, none of the other cast members knew that that was something that I was dealing with. Like literally the office that we were rehearsing in, me and my family would sneak in to sleep there sometimes at night. And so by the time it was just about showtime, I actually shared that with the cast, just before the show, because I wanted them to bring it. I wanted them to understand how important this was, how serious it is, and the whole message of you don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know if someone's homeless and what that looks like. So it really hit home with them for me to share that. They're like, you're lying, stop playing. I opened the closet where, we were storing all our stuff. I'm like, this is literally where we're living right now. When we can sneak in here, and when we can't, we sleep in the car, whatever. And they're just like, not a dry eye in the building. It was heartbreaking, but it was like, it served its purpose, the purpose of me telling them at that time. And they delivered that message like never before. That was the first time we did it. I think that was 2013. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've done it at least 13 or 14 times. And I actually played myself after that initial role. And once I played myself, only because the other person playing me couldn't show up at the time, then everyone was like, okay, you have to play yourself from now on. Oh, I don't know if I can. It's a lot. But I've done it ever since. I've played myself in that role every time. And it's therapeutic every time. But the fact that so many people come up after the show and are like, just touched, whether they've experienced homelessness or whether they're that person that just judged homelessness or stereotyped or whatever, it hits home for everybody in that audience. So it just is so worth it to go through, you know, the stress and struggle of producing
Yeah.
it, directing it, and starring in it. It's a lot, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And that production was done in the Atlanta area as well. Is that right?
Yes, it's been done in like Atlanta surrounding cities. For the most part, we're definitely wanting to take it to other different states too. So
Yeah.
looking at tips for that.
All right. So tell me this. So like I said, you did that in Atlanta where you currently consider home, and Atlanta has a really big film scene going on right now. And you've been in some like a couple of Tyler Perry productions, for example, I believe I Can Do Bad by Myself and House of Pain and was the Vampire Diaries shot out there as well on the CW?
Yep, that was
Okay, so all these different great productions. Tell us a little bit about, because you know, you got New York, LA, and Atlanta's really risen up. What's it been like for shooting out there, whether it be your own productions or other productions that you've been a part of? What's that like right now?
I mean, I've just recently decided to expand my horizons. I moved to Georgia in 2009, and my and goal was to work with Tyler Perry because that was who inspired me the most at the time. I'm like, I got to work with him. So I accomplished that goal within a couple of months. And, you know, it's like any goal, once you accomplish it, you're like, okay, what's next? What can I do bigger and better? You know, I'm glad that Atlanta is definitely taking off in the amount of films that are shot there. And, you know, the laws are just better than anywhere else as far as that's concerned. But I did recently, within this past month, go out to LA as well. So I wanted to definitely tap into that market and see what that was like. I have noticed that a lot of the major films will still do their lead role casting from LA and bring them into Atlanta. So like, okay, I'm here where it's happening and I'm fighting for these roles, but I'm competing against people who don't even live here. So I actually went out to LA for a few weeks and managed to land a manager and a couple of agents there. So now I'm officially bi-coastal. So I'm hoping to bigger and better roles for me, even while living in Georgia, because I definitely want to stay, you know, living in Georgia, even while I'm traveling out. But yeah, so we'll see how the market may change now that I officially have an agent in LA as well. But I definitely enjoy working with this community. Like I wanted to live here as opposed to LA because of the community. I mean, it's just very supportive. And whenever I do my stage productions and stuff, like I have the people that I consider family, my film family. And it's just, I can't explain it. It's awesome.
All right. So in addition to being bi-coastal and going between LA and Atlanta and doing your acting and modeling and things like that, as you mentioned, you do have a book tour that's going on right now promoting I Am. And as you mentioned before with some of your other work, it is some of your acting and your productions have been healing for people. There it is. There it is. Have been healing. And I know one of the things with I Am, you want to continue some of that, doing healing and self-help. So tell us what we can look for in I Am and where we may find it and things like that.
So I Am, this is my book again. It's a poetic ensemble. It's actually available on Amazon right now, but I do a lot of live events, book signings. I also, even through my social media, if you're following me on there, I'll often promote and mail out books personally signed by me. So there's a lot of different ways to get it if you follow me. But yes, it is an autobiography. So it's the first time I'm really sharing my story and some of my testimonies and things that I've been through. But it's written in poetry format, so it's easy to read. You know, for those that aren't really a big fan of reading, I've had people say they sat down and read it in one night. And then also it's made to be performed. So I've performed the pieces many times and often do get booked to perform some pieces from the book, but I also encourage other people to perform them as well and use them as monologues, because that's just what it's meant. It's meant to be versatile and not just a book that you read and put away. There's a workbook that goes along with it as well. Again, if you're following me on social media, you can get all that information and know when and where to get that to really help people with the self-help part of it. In the back, there is a lot of like self-help information as far as suicide hotlines, things dealing with abuse, and just anything that I've been through. Being able to turn that pain into a purpose and say, hey, this is my story and I went through this and here's where I am now and you can get through it too. So that's really how it's helping people. And because I have been through so many different things, I feel like a lot of people have been able to relate to one part or the other. I haven't come across too many people that have said, oh, no, I couldn't relate to anything in that book. You know, there's something for everybody in it. So it's a journey. It's more than just a book. It's definitely a movement that I encourage everybody to get on and follow, because it's changing lives. So.
That sounds great. And you have that on your website? Is that one? Because I know you talk about your acting, your modeling on your website, but that book can be found on there as well. You want to give that website to us before we go?
Sure. My website is vitelle.net. That's VITELLE.net. You can see right there on the homepage, place where you can subscribe. I encourage everybody to subscribe so that you can keep up with everything that's going on. I don't spam your inbox. I only send out things when something great's happening and kind of try to sum it up. This is what's going on this month or whatever, just to keep everybody in the loop and being able to follow. Also, my social media links are right there on the homepage. And then there's a link to each different thing that I do that you may want to follow, whether that's actress, author, model, whatever. There's different tabs for all that. So definitely check it out, vitelle.net.
Okay, that sounds great. So sure we'll all be going to that more. I know I've spent quite a bit of time taking a look at that myself. We'll look for I Am, and we will also look for that season 3 of Flags on the Field whenever that comes into play. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate your time, and I wish great things with the book. I know it's going to help a lot of people.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.